Let's go. All right. Air horn. What's up, everybody? All right. Another Tuesday. Just me and you. All of you. In the studio together. We've got Kyle's on vacation still. I'm waiting on him. I'm waiting on a callback. I believe. Not sure if he's going to be making it with us, but I want to thank everybody else for making it on time. 4 o'clock. It's 4:01. I see people still trickling in here in the back. This has been a really, really great off season, with the small exception of the fact that it's been pretty quiet. One of the things. Love that you guys all love the air horn. And Joe Ryan, I think your clock is off. Okay? It was 4 when we went live on my end. Now it might have been 4 and like 50 seconds, but we were rolling before 4:01. So anyway, again, thank you all for tuning in here on Tuesday. We've got some cool news. One of the biggest exciting pieces of news that I do want to share with you is how well the charity raffle is going right now. Just before the show, I checked. I can double check again here. I don't know if I have access actually to it on this computer, but we just crossed the $4,000 mark. I think we were just at it, and I think I just saw that someone else bought another raffle ticket. So big thanks to everybody who's supporting the raffle. I'm actually going to go directly at the end of this show. This is another cool bit of news. It's right as soon as this show is over, I'm pinning it straight down to meet with one of the board members of the Boys and Girls Club here in San Diego to buy a bunch of gifts. So this will be fun. It'll be like a supermarket sweep, I think, pretty much. So last year we donated physical hard good gifts. This year we're going to do the same thing. Now you can obviously just donate the cash. But there is something to, this guy needed some help anyway, driving all the toys and all the gifts out to the Boys and Girls Club. So I told him how much we were going to do to donate. And he was like, oh, and I said, I can come down there and help you do everything. And, if you guys need to use my car too, we can throw some stuff in there. He's like, yeah, probably. We might need a pickup truck. So really exciting stuff. I really want to say thank you to everybody who supported this. We've got a ton of really killer big gifts. James from Island Designs has got a special signature Island Designs HORMESIS headband that comes like the first 15 of them are going to come with numbered shirts. He's got this like cool little deal here. So he's selling most of those, but he just threw in a couple extra. So we've got extra gifts. Also, shout out to Archie, Ryan, and the guys at Project. We've got some Project Paintball goodies arrived at my house. So we're going to be giving away, adding to the pile of gifts out there. So, some of you guys might be winning a little Project strap and hat combo, courtesy of Project Paintball. So thank you guys very much there. Also, the grand prize winner is going to be getting one of these collab bands right here with a little Tiger Wear 713 Feds. You're going to be getting a HORMESIS headband and a signed Greenspan jersey. I'll throw in a Project strap also because we got an extra one of those. So you're going to be getting dialed in with a big package of goodies. Actually, I could even and then I've got an extra one of my mother's, the Lonnie the Paintball Mom series. Yeah, she actually donated this one herself, mainly because she said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. She tried to wear one of them in the garden, but she didn't really understand. She also kept calling it Hermes. So, she's not into the paintball thing very much, So, anyway, we've got a ton of cool prizes and gifts. Obviously, Gen X gifts as well. So, really stoked for everybody who were who donated and is taking part. Also, I've got some of these little cards. If you've won anything in the past, I actually just sent out a Matty Marshall card, and he is on the docket to call here pretty soon here. He's got a 440 hard stop time. Look at this, and this is the next card in the deck. So if someone wins something tonight, they're gonna get the Greenspan card. Just kind of pull it off the top. I think there's a Lang card in here too. Or did I already give that one away? I got John Richardson's. I got the Yak Max. Shout out to Bart and the Yak Max as well. Bart helped out a lot to get all those donations out to Maui. So also, Dr. Despair, you need to send me your address because you won on the show last week, and I wasn't able to send you anything because I don't have your address for some reason. So just as a reminder to everybody that we need your addresses. So yeah, just as a reminder. Let's see, other news and announcements. I'm calling Maddie right now as this comes up. So the charity is going great. We've got some moves. We've got some news. We've got some moves that aren't being made right now, despite big fat cash offers. I want to talk to you guys about that. And then I also want to get your opinion. Does Dynasty need to pick anybody up? And they do have a troll card. They do have a Thomas Taylor, the troll card. But, Maddie, we just talked on the phone. Said I was calling you. If you're watching the show, I'm calling you right now. Hello. Okay, Maddie's unavailable. But we'll get him back, and we'll give Alex a call. We'll give Alex a call as well. And no paint. These are not a sleeve of Zins. Actually, these are NECTRs. NECTR just came out with a new flavor as well. I threw a couple of these things out there. I need to boost you guys a little bit more on these. Make everybody a little bit more. These are the NECTR pouches. There he is. I don't do the tobacco thing. These are tobacco. Yes, sir.
What up?
Hold on one second. Let me get you here. Booyah. Oh, where's your head? There you are. Uh-oh. Maddie is unavailable.
What?
Where'd you go?
Right here, dude. Can you see me?
No. What just happened?
I don't know. I can see you. Everything seems fine on my end.
Huh. Let's see. Where is Maddie? Nope.
Right here, bro.
All right, here. Hang up on me. I'm going to call you back.
Okay. Call me back.
All right. Okay, here he is. That should be good. There he is. All right. Yo. Thanks for jumping on. Not much. We're just going over the mid just the conversation at the beginning of the show to talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
And what's been happening. Not a lot. And we were talking about how quiet this offseason's been. All things considering, right?
I mean, there's stuff happening. It's just not there yet.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, sure. Yes. Exactly. There is a lot of stuff going. I'm gonna put you right here next to me, right there. Look at that. I'm gonna blow you up. I'm gonna blow you up here. So, yeah, there has been a lot of stuff going down, but not like last year, not like the year before, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's just that sometimes things happen at a certain pace, and other times things take a little bit longer. So we're kind of in that situation right now. So set my phone up. There we go. I do believe that this will be a little bit. We'll see, but I think that this offseason, we've had some money teams. Saints coming in 2 years ago as a money team was big, and then last year with AC Diesel coming in, Mark Johnson as a money team. And what I mean by that is
sure.
That you have somebody that wants to come in with a strong financial hand and try to poach players, and that's welcome to pro sports. That's how everything is. I mean, as a Padres fan, I'm incredibly saddened by the news that Shohei Ohtani has gone to the enemy, the Dodgers, and deferred a large portion of his salary.
Dude, that video you sent me today was so spot on. That was as good as it gets, man. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that guy absolutely crushed it. So what Ryan and I are talking about is somebody had put together a little, I don't know, he might have used AI or a guy that sounds just like Leonardo DiCaprio, and did a version of the Wolf of Wall Street where it put in the Ohtani. And if people aren't aware, essentially Shohei Ohtani, the greatest baseball player in the past 100 years, maybe ever, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, he's that good. If he recovers from Tommy John surgery and can pitch again, because his pitching numbers and his hitting numbers combined, and the fact that he was an elite pitcher and an elite hitter is just incredibly impressive and kind of unprecedented since Babe Ruth. And I'm going to be frank about this, and Babe Ruth did not have to play against black or Hispanic people, and the black and Hispanic people are really, really good at baseball. So Babe Ruth had a lot easier road than everyone has had since, God bless Jackie Robinson. Anyway, so yeah, Shohei Ohtani is the real deal. And he's getting paid $70 million a year, but he deferred everything but $2 million a year for 10 years so they could stack their team up. It's a genius move, apparently suggested by Ohtani. But anyway, yeah.
Because he's probably got a ton of loot.
Yeah, so he actually wasn't really getting paid. Like, this was his big payday.
Right.
So the Japanese players that come over and get into the American baseball scene, they're, depending on how their contract was structured and what age they were when they came over, it's complicated. It's like a Byzantine labyrinth, but so whatever. He's definitely rich already. That dude he's going to be, literally richer than a sultan, just based off of the amount of advertising revenue he's going to pull in Asia, because he is indeed a baseball god, and he should be getting paid all that money. But because he's already rich, though not generationally rich and a billionaire, but if he plays his cards right here, I mean, no one in his family's going to have to work for like 4 or 5 generations if they don't squander the money. But it gives the Dodgers a huge advantage. Anyway, dude, yeah, I can run on about baseball for a while.
Matty loves baseball.
Yeah, it's just, sports in general are fascinating to me. The business behind it, the media side of it, the actual games themselves. It just fascinates me.
Mm-hmm. I love that, like, yeah, they could pay $700 million over the course of 10 years to this one person, this one player. And, we're over here like, all right, hey, you want to come play with us? So we're going to pay for your airfare, hotel, rental car, obviously. You got to pay for your own food, but we will give you $200 per diem, and then 3 guns. For the year.
There's a very simple and blatant and easy explanation for all that. Mm-hmm. And the difference is about 140 years and 5 or 6 generations, depending on how you want to count it. It is fascinating that if you go back and look at the history of baseball, baseball got popular, well, depends on how you define popularity, but it became a thing around the Civil War. Civil War actually helped kind of spread baseball around the United States. And then late 1800s, early 1900s is when it started to kind of find its current form. There's lots of discussion there, but there was, situations like, imagine if you just like now, if somebody grows up. I had this conversation with my parents. I'm sure you did with your mom as well too, where they're like, you want to be a pro baseball or a paintball player? What the hell are you talking about, dude? Like, how are you going to get paid? But if you go back, there are instances where you would have these, farm boys that would go to their, parents that are from whatever, doesn't matter what stock they were from, but from the old country somewhere, who, came up, doing normal things. And all of a sudden you get to play a game for a living. I mean, that's, and also it was, a lot of it was, you would have like a factory owner who would start a baseball club. And then he kind of like how Whit Pierce used to do, our buddy, like when he was traveling around. Yeah. He'd be getting paid to play, quote unquote, pro baseball in Austria or Australia, but the guy that owned his team would also be, like, I was a man of means, and he had ability to give Whit a job doing something else. So, that is just kind of how that's part of the evolution of all sports, all pro sports in the modern era. But yeah, so we're kind of there. That's just. Again, I don't know where I know we had a list of things you wanted to talk to me about. I don't know how much you want me to kind of go down.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need it. The baseball thing was a quick little anecdote. I think we can. I think we've milked the baseball thing long enough.
Well, but the thing is that because
no, but I understand. I understand that.
Just real quick. This is a point to keep in mind. This is a period at the end of a sentence, or almost like a paragraph change, in the sense that it's a pause. Okay. And everyone needs to pause and think, where the fuck are we actually here in this progression of professional paintball, right? So, And in the sense that, you see these huge money moves of these other huge sports, and they're just at such a different economy of scale, but also a different point in their evolution in the consciousness of a normal citizen. Because baseball, football, soccer, aka football, call it what it is over the rest of the world. But these things are, they have taken over the human mind in a way that it's there constantly, and people want to know everything and that exists about these people that play it, and that's what we're trying to get to at some point in time. Again, we just have to be realistic about where we actually are. So where we actually are for a large percentage of pro paintball players is, yeah, dude. I mean, there's some guys out there playing divisional right now. Listen to this. Like, I'll take 10 guns and free paintball all day, every day, twice on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
So because they're paying a lot more than that. So it's just, but that's its own long, lengthy conversation.
No, I feel you, and look, it comes down to like the acceptance, and I think ease of play is a thing, like how everybody can, how digestible everything is, because there's a bunch of people now in the comments yapping about how overpaid some guys are, and hockey's better than this, soccer's better than that, football's better than this, coaches of college football are better than that, like, so and there's it's a lot there's a lot to that's a whole
we
other
can do a whole show on that,
yeah
just in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be down to field any questions from the chat. But the concept of you have to be careful with the concept of quote unquote overpaid. We live in a market economy in the Western world.
Yeah,
this is and that's a whole other conversation. But this is a capitalistic society. What does overpaid mean? Did your wife overpay for her purse? Did you overpay for the diamond ring you bought your wife? Did you overpay for your house? Things cost what they cost based on what people are willing to pay for them.
Yeah.
That's how the market works.
And that's exactly what we talked about a while ago. And the same thing, and this will be the next, I guess we can pivot straight into this next discussion, is like, we talked about this when, the pro spot is worth this much. The pro spot is worth this much. Is worth what someone's going to pay for it. That might be a ton or a little.
Yeah, I didn't hear that conversation. I've listened to many of these conversations over the years. Sorry, I'm just setting my camera up a little bit better. But, yeah, what is the pro spot worth?
What is everything worth? It's worth what you're going to pay for it.
Exactly. The answer to that question is always, what is somebody willing to pay for it?
Mm-hmm,
what is a one-of-one, the only thing that's left over, like I don't even know if one of these exists or even you ever had one. But, like, let's just say you had an Iron Kid Sandana from 98, from 99, and it's all tattered, and it's the only one left. No one's ever going to make another one of these things. What is that worth? Well, you could sit there and say, well, to me, this is why you have a lowest bid in an auction. It's like, my reserve price is $1,000. In the sense that I'm willing to part with this for $1,000. Always a buyer and a seller. Whether that's labor or a product.
Right.
And so you have this one-on-one thing, and then what are you, okay, I'm willing to part with it for this. And if it doesn't hit my reserve price, I'm not selling it because I'm going to sit on it because I don't need the money.
Yeah.
So then, okay, but it's worth, if somebody wants to pay $5,000 for that, and then some other guy's like, no, to me it's worth $6,000. It's worth whatever the market will bear, whatever somebody is willing to pay for something. So
yeah,
with, you can't even, the question, what is a pro spot worth? The answer is whatever anyone's willing to pay for it. If it's zero, then it's worth nothing. If it's $50,000, then it's and someone's willing to pay for it. There's not a lot of pro spots out there, man. There's 20 pro teams in the NXL/Major League Paintball. It is a finite commodity, and there's hundreds of people that want to get in eventually in their dreams to play pro paintball, and so it's kind of worth whatever people are willing to pay for it. So whatever that happens to be at this particular time, 30, 40, 50 grand, 25 grand. Also depends on the deal that's worked out and how the relationship between those two parties. But that's just the answer. The simple answer is that whatever people are willing to pay for it. So what's Shohei Ohtani, best generational talent in baseball? He's currently worth $700 million. So now set a certain metric. This is just This is how the fucking world works, man. Like, you
That's
either
true.
get mad at that and pissed at it, or you just accept it and work within those confines.
Yeah,
and things get a lot better when you work within the confines.
Absolutely. It's just like our Spick and Span memberships that some of you might see populating up here on your screen. It's we created 4 different levels there because you have something for everybody. It's what you find value in those and this level of support you'd like to give to the show to afford to buy cool things like new microphones and cameras to make crispy pictures happen here. But speaking of this is actually 2 questions popped up, and before I get too far away from BFP Gear's question, did you get a chance to look over their they need a green light for the Dynasty video? There's a killer Dynasty video.
Yeah. No, I know. Sorry, Junior, if you're listening, I'll hit you back. I've been completely taking care of my child and trying to work on this, this Ghost Sports project and this voiceover. I'm actually literally, talking about Rad Dynasty is right now, along with Revo, Impact, and the Tauntauns. But I will get back to you as soon as I can. It's probably fine, but I'm just double checking.
And then there's actually usually a beep after that. That's Maddie's voicemail, right there. That's the recording. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Beep.
yeah. I mean, I can't be everything to everyone at all times.
Well, I appreciate you carving out a little time here to chat with us about baseball, and and well, just the intricacies of life in general. So look, here's a question, and this is going to be 2-part because we got In the Pits ask a really good question about pro contracts. But
Love In the Pits.
Yeah, they're crushing, and. Everything that you've been a big promoter of this, but like anybody making any kind of paintball content, especially on a regular basis, bravo. Yes. We've got a ton of people doing it right now, and it's getting bigger and better. And so, especially in an off-season type thing where there's more and more stuff, this is awesome. Okay, so let's see what. Okay, so allegedly, there was. I'm gonna throw up this graphic. Let me see if Kyle's gotten back to me. I think he's sleeping right now because it's pretty early. So allegedly, Mouse was offered $100,000 cash to play with, I believe, the Russians, possibly, allegedly. Okay. Now again, I don't have 100% confirmation about this, but this is just kind of stuff that I've heard. So, and what this is what I'm getting at is. What do you think the value is for some players to leave a scenario or situation, and what kind of deters you? And then in the Pits question, where we kind of talk about all this, is do you think pro contracts should be made public?
I'll get to the In the Pits conversation in a second.
Yeah.
Is this Christian from In the Pits?
It's just In the Pits. It doesn't say who's manning the station, who's behind the keyboard.
So I'll get to that in a second. Mm-hmm. The first part of the question is well, okay. I have heard some rumors as well too. That would indicate that I don't think that is quite the number that I heard, but whatever, it doesn't matter. The sense is, again, when you were talking of, like, Mouse has been batted around as the top tier talent, and when I say batted around, meaning like you got this dude who runs this team, and this guy that runs this team, and this guy that runs this team, and he's been in the midst of a bidding war. And when you're in a bidding war, again, to take the example of, say, a one-of-one Ryan Greenspan Iron Kids headband from '99 that you won a tournament in Portland with or something, that's not good. That doesn't exist anywhere else. Mouse doesn't exist anywhere else. Now, there are other players that can kind of do what he does, but can they do it at his level? Well, that's a conversation. Most days they can't. That's, I think, unarguable. And because that specific discussing the merits of one particular player that's in the minds of most of his peers and most of the people that have the money and most of the people that run these institutions of these teams, if you're worth that money, it's like, well, that's a force multiplier. If we get Mouse, force multiplier. Now, did it work out for AC Diesel this year? It did not. But that doesn't mean that Mouse isn't still a top tier, Snake One talent. Mm-hmm. And he probably could languish on a team that didn't do well for a couple seasons, and until he gets fat and slow and stops killing people on a regular basis, then, he's going to have a really big price on his head as a mercenary that and he's also proven, and this is this is not a knock to Mouse, but he's proven that he's he's a mercenary, dude. Like, if you want to pay him a bunch of money, he doesn't just go to anybody, but he will go to a team for money, because what is he? He's a professional paintball player. If you're a graphic designer and you got a job and you love your coworkers and you love the company and you love the mission and you're getting paid $90,000 a year, and another company that you also love the people you're working with and you love the mission of that company, if they come to you and they're going to give you $130,000, well, you'd kind of be foolish not to take that $130,000.
Now, real quick, and this is kind of the title of the show. I'll put it up here a little bit so we can get a little refresher. So just to challenge that, like, what makes it worth it? Is it worth it? So what if you don't like? I mean, it's obviously personal, right?
No,
it's a personal thing.
I've had this conversation, and a lot of people in the know this. Know this, but I have a lot of these conversations with people throughout the years in the off season, and I have a pretty simple. To me, it's a hierarchy. It's like the hierarchy of need. So when I have a conversation with somebody and they want my advice, because there's no old men to consult on this. We are the old men in this situation. As far as if you want to build a house, you can hire. Whatever you want to put together a couch or something, you can go and figure out. Like, there's been 1 million couches built. Probably billions and billions of couches built. You can figure out somebody that knows how to do that. Not a lot of winning pro paintball teams have been built in the modern era.
Yeah.
So, sort of to go to this, I've had this conversation with many people. The question I always ask people is, the very first thing I say to them is, like, do you need the money? It's a simple, very frank question, because if you're sleeping on your mom's couch and you're 25 years old, and
then you need the money,
$30,000 is going to drastically change your financial situation, then you would be a fool not to take that. And another thing I never do is I never ever tell anyone, unless it's blatantly obvious, what they should do. That's not what an advisor does. You give people options and you paint different pictures, and they have to make that own decision because they're a grown ass man. But sometimes it's blatantly obvious more than others. But most of the time it's not. And because, when we're talking about a paintball team, a pro paintball team, there's not like, you're not going to be living in your, in your trophy mansion, driving your trophy car, and have generational wealth. At the end of the day, even if you are getting paid for this, unless you're in the top 1%, so 200 pro players, maybe it's a little bit more than 1%, but you're barely going to scrape by. So, how bad do you need the money? If their answer is, I don't need the money, well, then to me, the next thing I say to them is, I'm like, look, as somebody that's already gone through this, and teams that I was on had offers to go to other teams. It wasn't the money that it's dealing with right now by any stretch of the imagination, but could have gone and played different places. At the end of the day, when this is all done, this is all about the story you're going to tell yourself. Yeah, sure, you're going to tell it to others, but you're going to tell the story to yourself.
Yeah.
And what story do you want to tell? That's the question. So and if it's close to it, where it's like, okay, well, yeah, I do, doing an extra 20, 30 grand, 40 grand would be great for me. Whatever, 10 grand, 10 guns, whatever. That would be great, but it's not completely a difference maker. I'm like, okay, well, do you want to stay with the team you came up with, play every single point, and that's hard in its own way, or do you want to go to a top level team, potentially not play at all, and then and spend 2 or 3 years languishing in oblivion on the bench filling pots, because that is also a reality. So what do you want to do? That is your two. These are your roads. You can play every point and be the man. That comes with its own problems and awesome things as well. Or do you take this other road where you may not play a point? Because if you don't earn it, because you're playing with a bunch of, alpha male lions out there who are already proven to win, and you may not be able to crack into that starting line. So where do you want to go with this? That's the harder part of the decision. So is it like worth it? Dude, that's about the most subjective thing you could say, or
I know.
Most subjective question you could ask, because that's going to be different for anyone. If you're 22 years old and you're living on your mom's couch and somebody's going to pay you $15,000 to play paintball, and which will pay your rent, so then you can get your ass in gear, and then that will be a springboard to put you in a better position, you'd be a fucking fool not to take that. If the other option is paying, $5,000 a year to play on some divisional team, whatever. I'm just saying. And then, but if you're a 28 or 33-year-old man with a family or whatever, and you already got a regular ass job, and someone's going to give you $20,000 to play paintball, it's like, well, yeah, dude, $20,000 would be sweet, but
right.
I mean, maybe I want to go play for Dynasty for less because it's Dynasty or Infamous or whatever,
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to play for a top or bottom?
Or
yeah.
Stay with my boys.
Stay with my boys.
Raise them up to be a pro team and be a paintball legend that way. Like there's it's like that's the story. It's the venture. It's that's the important part of it.
Yeah, and actually that's a really good point that you put there, and I think legacy has a lot to do with it. Is that even important to some people? Is that something you want to try to create? Do you want to be on a winning team? Do you want to help a team propel? Because let's look at the case in question right now is, if Mouse is getting paid, I'm sure, a lot of money right now, and then he's getting offered a lot of money by Russians who objectively had a horrible start to the season, but somehow something was to click, and they began to play a lot better. I believe they have an open spot. Well, they definitely have an open spot on their team right now, and they're looking to fill it with one player. And then I think Diesel was going to do better at every single time they walked on the field. It's like nothing made sense to me on how they didn't do well and they underperformed. Underperformance is like an understatement on how their season went. But going to a team like the Russians at this point, I believe, would be an upgrade and possibly get you some wins. But right there, you're not really playing with your friends. You're getting wins possibly and getting paid.
There's another part, at least I haven't talked to Mouse about this, but Mouse is also reaching a point in his career where, like, does he just want to be that soldier, or does he want to be a part of leadership? And there's like another, you got paint. There's, as Kendrick Lamar says, there's levels to everything. So there's levels to this, and you reach a point where, does he want to? How long can he be the one? He's definitely. I mean, there's certain dudes like Billy Bernach has proven that you can be the one for a long period of time. I mean, Mouse, too, he's done it for a long time, but it does beat your body up. He's also proven that he can play a little farther back. But it's like, where does he want to do? What's in his soul? What adventure does he want to have next? Obviously, wherever he goes, he's going to get paid. But the conversation is a little bit more cut and I wouldn't say it's not simple, but it's like we're talking about one guy, where it's like if you go on to have this conversation for a lot of other instances, and which is a much more common phenomenon, with different, guys that aren't at Mouse's tier. I mean, Mouse is the most coveted first snake attacker and has been for a long period of time, and he has gotten paid as, because he is that human being. But it's just where does he want to go with this? How long does he want to be in that position? He can play another position. Obviously, he's getting paid. Sure. Okay, on paper, with Legion being 11th and Diesel 13th, sure, that's technically an upgrade, but both Legion and Diesel underperformed. And if you're a team that is at that level of, potential ability, you kind of have to look at these finishes. I mean, dude, Legion took second to last at the first event. And then they went 11th, 15th, 6th, and 8th, so they finished it off a lot better, whereas Diesel was, below mediocre for their level all year long, where they were 12th, 13th, 8th, 11th, and 15th. Mm-hmm. So, sure, we can split hairs and say, okay, yeah, slight upgrade to go to Legion, but also, Legion is, one of the most legendary teams ever, and the core of that team is insanely good. I always talk about it all the time when anyone watches the show, where if you have Karslev, Sergei Sonaiskov, Alexander Burnikov, and Kirill Pridny on the field, well, whoever they put in that fifth position, unless they're absolutely terrible, that team still probably should be pretty good.
Yeah.
But that just also goes to show you how important it is to have 5 competent, amazing paintball players on the field if you want to be elite status. That's a case in point right now to what just happened to Legion this year. And if you go back a couple years when they had 5 with Leo Smotrov out there, add that in as the 5th. All right, well, now they're a potential favorite to win any event they play in. So that's exactly how important it is to have 5 elite paintball players on the field, and not one player does a team make. So, when you're throwing money at people, you got to also, and you have a budget in mind, you got to keep that into consideration as well too. Again, going back to the Shohei Ohtani thing, yeah, sure, he knows he's very cognizant of the fact that he is this elite guy, but I think one of the reasons he deferred his salary is, one, he's already rich, and he's going to continue to get and just print money every year because he's arguably the most famous human being in all of Asia when it comes to he is the most famous human being when it comes to baseball. He's one of the most famous human beings, period. So he's just going to print money on anything he wants to endorse for as long as he plays the game, and even after that, he'll still be a force in marketing. So his family's going to be fine even if he never gets a dime from the Dodgers. He'll still be rich as hell. Mm-hmm. But he wants legacy. You just ask, well, what does the legacy mean? Okay, legacy to some people means a lot more than it does to others.
Sure.
And obviously to Ohtani, his legacy means so much to him that he's willing to defer fucking a Saturn-sized chunk of money for 10 years, dude. That's insane. Why? Because he wants to win. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's why it would be hard. How are you going to leave Dynasty right now? Not you personally or anybody. It's like, yeah, dude, Chris Shear's a talent. I mean, people have been throwing money at Marcelo for fucking 5-10 years. Like, you've gotten more offers probably than, I mean, if people, you've gotten more offers probably than almost anybody. And even though people know you'll never go, other than maybe a couple other guys. But it's like, and you said no every time. Okay, so obviously to you, legacy is is incredibly important. And it's like also, are we thinking fast or are we thinking slow?
Right.
There's a really good book up here in my library called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. Everybody check it out. It's like, what are we doing? Are we thinking fast or are we thinking slow? You've been thinking slow about this, and that is a nod to you and to a guy like Marcelo or any of these other guys that kind of take this long look at things. But sometimes, because it is just, paintball, bro, like we're not there yet. So it does make sense to kind of take that money if you can get it. But again, these are the intricacies of this conversation that I think is fascinating.
Yeah, that's true. And I think a lot of people are really, really stoked on that, listening to and understanding it, and again, I think one of the biggest parts is, and you've said it since the beginning, is this life-changing? Is this going to move the needle for you, or are you just doing it for a couple extra bucks? And I think that a lot of players don't zoom out on that picture often enough. And they're like, oh, I can get a little bit better of a deal over here. And then they'll burn bridges and things just won't pan out. And then you're like, oh, I'm just going to go for a little bit more here or over there. And what ends up happening is you're not really understanding the big picture. And then next thing you know, you're sitting there at the end of your career with no wins and not enough. There's no credibility to your name either. It's a bummer that some people can't really do that. But again, I don't know, it's life-changing for some people and others, and there is a a big significant amount of gray area there on what we know what's happening behind the scenes and what they do. So that's something. I know you got to go relatively soon, but we get somewhere on Maddie time, so we can squeeze a couple extra minutes out of this. So with that being said, and on to this one is do you think Dynasty should pick anybody up? And if so, obviously you got to take a significant pay cut unless we're grabbing rookies. And a lot of people have said something about rookies. And we found Mikey. Well, we didn't find him. He was playing on DMG, and we snagged him. But or was he on Level or Evolution? I think he played on both of them. Anyway, yeah.
Well, you guys are in an incredibly unique position. Mm-hmm. It's a singular position. No one else. I mean, it would be. There are other institutions in sports that, depending on where you grew up, could carry the weight of a San Diego Dynasty in the game of paintball. And it would be foolish of you guys for not to leverage that situation. But also, you have to be careful because, and I know, at some point in time, even though you're. I don't know how much longer you got to do this, but haven't lost a step, So, and you look at how certain guys have played on your team. I mean, look at Arturo. Like, he's just coming into his own, drawing the start at World Cup, and he's not as old as you guys are. But paintball is kind of a grown person's game at this point, because of the way that it works. Being nimble and small and fast and aggressive that's great. We would love all those things. But so you guys have a core that can continue to do this. But as far as the question, should Dynasty pick anybody up? Well, there's a lot that goes into that because you are at the stage where it's like, all right, well, we have to build for the future because what happens, you guys own Field 1. Field 1 needs a focal point for its sponsorship attention. And it would be super sad if Dynasty ever stopped. If you retire, Yosh retires, and Alex retires, what happens then? Now again, this is something for a discussion for a different year in its finality. But it is absolutely something that needs to be discussed when we're having the conversation of should Dynasty pick anybody up right now. So with how well Arturo played at World Cup, can he slot right in there on the snake side? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mikey didn't get a ton of playing time because Arturo was playing so well. And Mikey has been, again, this is no discredit to Mikey. This is just part of being in that position. A little hit or miss in there. That's fine because he's so good that I think that's a great pickup for impact. Even though, because it's going to press Zupa and they don't have to they're going to pull JC over there. Again, the different discussion I could spend I don't have forever. I think actually Morgan Mito just got home, my wife. Hold on. Okay, we're good. We actually are good now because my mom is watching Monty, and I was waiting for Morgan to get home. And if those did not coincide and slot and dovetail together, then I was going to have to go.
We were just saved, Maddie. Saved by the wife and mom.
My mom just had cataract surgery, so she can't drive in the dark, and it is getting dark out here in San Diego. So I was not trying to have my mom drive home in the darkness.
Mom, I got to be on the Speak and Span show a little bit longer at the expense of your safety and well-being.
Yeah. So now we're good.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah. Should Dynasty pick anybody up? The need is not so pressing that it's okay, well, if Dynasty loses Urena and doesn't pick anybody up, do they have just as much of a chance to win a tournament next year as they did with Urena? Well, that's not a black and white argument, but I don't think it's like I've been trying to tell my 3-year-old son that there's a difference between needs and wants. Because they'll be like, I need a snack.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, son, you want a snack. You do not need a snack. You just had lunch. You want a snack. You do not need it. You need to drink water. You need to breathe air. You do not need this. You want it. So now you could argue that there is a bit of a need, because the need would be that you have to have a young lion pressing the old lions. This is the way of evolution. Yeah. This is the way of all sports. This is it's everything. It's literally everything that exists on Earth in an institution has to have a young lion pressing an old lion. It brings out the best in both. It's part of the symbiotic nature of the way things work. So the counter argument to that would be like, yeah, you need another young lion to put the pressure on. Now, you do have Harrison Fry. So, the fact that you have Harrison Fry, who's had some good looks in there, he hasn't got a shit ton of playtime, but he has proven himself to be a pretty elite attacker when he's on, and he still also seemed, at least from what we saw before he got on Dynasty, was still kept getting better. I mean, even so much that Infamous was trying to, bend over backwards to try to keep him on the team before you guys picked him up.
And he got the starting nod. I mean, he and Mikey were swapping points in Philly, and then he started in Chicago, and he wants to play the snake. He's like, I want to play over there, which is awesome. And just as a note to everybody who's up and coming, for those of you guys who are going to tryouts and going to practice this weekend and next weekend and getting ready to gear up for the next season, throw yourself in the snake, because you might be the guy, whether you like it or not, because everybody needs snake guys.
It's the most coveted position.
It is. And if you're good at it, you're getting offers for $100K every single year at the top level, like Mouse is. And you're getting,
if you're the next
deals.
Mouse, there are enough dudes out there that need a badass snake player that's the most coveted position in paintball. So yeah, it's like, again, whatever you want to call it, whatever your sports metaphor is, but I mean, it is a premier position. It's the quarterback. It's not a quarterback in the way the position's played, but as far as the money put towards it, because the quarterback in football is the person that dictates whatever else is happening. You got your running back who gets the ball a lot, and then you got your quarterback, and then you got receivers. They're the ones that score the points. So those are premier positions. The quarterback hands it off to the running back. The quarterback throws it to the receivers and the tight ends, and they're going to get paid the lion's share of the money, because if they're not good, then we're not good. if you don't have an elite snake one in pro paintball, you are never going to win a tournament, and it's not even going to be close. If you don't have a really good snake one, you're probably never going to be playing on Sunday. And if you don't have two of them, you need at least two. You know, you need to have like two really, really good guys in the snake. So yeah, dude, as a advice to anyone that's coming up in the game, even if you're 6 foot tall, because Mouse is not small. But if you,
and that is Mikey.
No, Mikey's a beast too. You know, those are big dudes.
And he won a golden barrel this year too. Don't forget that in Texas.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to be a tiny little dude to play the snake. You don't have to be 5'8", whatever. You don't have to be like 5'6", 125 to play the snake. You can be 6 foot 6'1", 200 pounds, and a beast, and be the one in the snake. Harrison Fry also not small. A couple other guys that have played well in the snake, they don't get in there all the time off the break. Nick Laval, he's super tall. He's 6'2", 6'3". Tyler Harmon, also 6'2", 6'3". So you do not have to be a tiny dude to play in the snake, and it is the most important position on the field, because what happens to that snake one, just like what happens to the quarterback, what does the pitcher do? The reason why pitchers get paid a premium is that every single pitch starts with the pitcher throwing the ball. Everything else happens around that. So if he does that really well, then we do really well. If the snake one's really good, we do really well. If the quarterback's really good, we do really well. That is the prime mover. That's the prime mover in this situation. So the prime mover on a paintball field, typically 99% of the time, is going to be what's happening to the snake one. Everything else has to, what you do, what the D side does, typically, it all revolves around, do we have the snake or do we not? And where are we in the snake? And what is that guy doing? So, yeah, you can't overstate the importance of the snake one, which again is why when the market does its thing and we're dishing out money from rich dudes that own paintball tournaments, who gets the lion's share of the money? Now, occasionally you have a Dalton, who's proven himself forever as a go-to attacker on the D side, and he will get a premium too. But the D side players traditionally are going to get less than the snake side players. That's just kind of how it is. It's like typically you're going to have a left tackle on an O line. So it's like if I'm a right-handed quarterback and I got my blind side, okay, so I get the ball and I come back on the offensive line, that left tackle is incredibly important, because if I can't count on this dude to stop that rush, I can't see it. The one coming from the other side, not as important. So that dude's going to make more money because he's going to be our best dude. So anyway, it's just one of those situations.
So what do you think about the pro contracts public? Now I do want to point this out from In the Pits. This was an interesting one, because I love watching, especially right now with like how NFL is, and whenever you see a baseball contract, like all their contracts are public, which is cool. I wish that actors were the same way. I wish like every movie that they were in, it showed like which movie they were in, how much they got paid. It's kind of a cool little metric and thing to just like you wish upon something. But when
the movie, like a lot of that stuff does become public knowledge. You can go back and kind of look at, you can look at what people make for a movie. I remember it was kind of funny because, I came up middle class and got a job when I was 15 and a half, the second I could get a worker's permit. But one of the jobs that I had when I was younger was managing. Well, I started working as just chucking popcorn in a movie theater.
I remember that,
and then I ended up becoming a manager really, really quickly. And I remember it was Jim Carrey was making like $20 million for his film, and I was making at the time, I think minimum wage was, because it was like $4.25, and then I got the bump to chief of staff, which was like the first manager. I was
$4.25,
like 17 years old, but it was like I was making like $5.25, and I'm counting out. Bro, like we would sit there when these big movies would happen, and I was making $5 and I think maybe 50 cents an hour. And when the big movies would happen, and I'm counting out hundreds of thousands of dollars in a drop, because the money comes in, a lot more cash back in the mid-90s. And I'm sitting there, and it was one of my jobs, because I was good at it, was to make sure we accurately count the money and write the money down. It takes 2 signatures, 2 people have to cut it, you wrap it up, and you drop it in a safe. And dude, the amount of money that we would count on a big weekend was insane. It was a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm making $5.50 an hour, and I just remember thinking at the time, I'm 17 years old, and I'm like, I'm just giving Jim Carrey all this money, like this is just going in a big vault for Jim Carrey, because he had to make $20 million, and I'm not, and as an older man now, understanding how things actually fucking work in the world, it's like, well, guess what? It's like everyone serves somebody, and the faster that you figure that out, the easier that life gets, so even if you're Jim Carrey or Tom Cruise and you're the main dude in a movie, and so everyone is there to serve you. Literally, everyone's there. The director's there to make you look good and make the scene go well, so you're doing a stunt, you don't get hurt, and all the stunt coordinators are there, and you got all the extras, and like everyone's there to make sure you nail that line in the movie. But why does everyone serve Tom Cruise? Because Tom Cruise serves the most important person of all, and that's the consumer. Because they're willing to put their money down, their hard-earned money, to watch this fantasy, to be enlivened in their mind for a couple hours and get a little escapism, or whatever it may be, and he knows that, and Jim Carrey knows that. They've talked about this. You can find interviews where they talk about their process and like why they do the things they do, and how it works, and why they've been so successful for so long. And so everyone serves somebody, So it's like when you get that out of your mind and think everyone's there for you, and you don't realize who you actually serve, it's like that kind of fucks things up. Right.
So what do you think about putting contracts public?
So with that, it's I don't have a dog in this fight. It would make my job a lot easier because, I hear what dudes are making, and, a lot of times people would be like, oh, keep this quiet. I'm like, okay, cool, their sources type situation. But it's also, it's just a small enough thing that it's, I think we've gotten used to these big money businesses where things are very transparent, and it's like, I would ask the question to the dude that's asking that question. It's like, okay, I don't know what they are doing. Are you an electrician? Do you own your own business? Like, do you work for a university? What's your job? Or should we put on Facebook what you make every year?
Right.
It's like, is that supposed to be transparent? It's like it used to be. I know it's got a little bit more transparent and this is more of a philosophical, not political, but more of an economical conversation as far as giving power to employees against employers. If there's more transparency in the mechanism of how people get paid, well, then more people can get paid easier because then they're not going to get undervalued. There's more, again, the market comes into play a little bit more when things are transparent. It's not a mystery what a carrot costs when I go to the store. It's like if I go get a carrot at Trader Joe's and go buy a carrot at Vons, like Vons and Trader Joe's, the people that do their buying know exactly what all that costs. And they buy and the costs are all the way down the list. And there's a price list. It's like I got my, tweaker notes about how well teams do. Well, they have their, it's like, well, the wholesale price from Carrots R Us is 43 cents.
Carrots R Us.
a pound. But we can get them for 42 cents over here. So, and that's, again, but that's not, it's not like, it's not something that's, the pricing and how things are, again, longer conversation and, we can have a little bit
I know.
for sure. But it would, for me having a bone in the fight, it would make my job a lot easier.
Be a cool talking point for sure.
Well, it would make the player's job a little bit easier too, because I can't even count how many conversations I've had with dudes over the past 10 years where guys are like, hey dude, so-and-so called me from this team, but I have no idea what to ask for. I have no clue.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously for bargaining, it's super important, and that's helpful. If it's kind of transparent, you're like, oh, that's what that guy's getting? Oh, great. That's what this guy's getting? Wow.
But,
like, where you can find yourself.
But it's like there's no mandate.
No,
of
course.
Real true mandate from the people that are... Because, again, all these guys that... Every pro paintball team... If you're a pro paintball player, you are a hired gun for a rich guy. You're kind of a stand-in for, like, a race car or a yacht or whatever else is super cool that they want to, have their hands in that they love and they're passionate about. Or you're a poster boy for a company or a mixture of both. Like, that's what pro paintball players are.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's we also kind of have to keep in mind that as much as the, standard dude on the street's going to be like, yeah, I want to know how much. I mean, let me just pick like a random dude.
Right.
What does Carter Donaldson get from the ML Kings? It's like at a certain point that is between Carter and the ML Kings.
Yeah.
It's like, why do I deserve to know what Carter Donaldson is getting from the ML Kings.
Well,
like
it's not a
business relationship between
no
Carter Donaldson and Charlie Gibbons.
I get it. No, I know, but and maybe it's just well. I think some people are like, man, will it add some legitimacy? Like, can I make it? Can I make it on what they're the money that they're making? The answer is generally no.
No. Yeah, I was like, okay, let's have that conversation. Yeah, probably not, bro.
Probably not.
You should probably go to school. You should probably either learn a trade or go to college and get a fucking job. And then if that fits into your life, if paintball fits into your life, then cool. Then you can do that. Just like in the history of all sports for fucking ever. You know, until it becomes a zeitgeist in the human mind, in our culture, until it becomes omnipresent, then you are not going to be getting anywhere close to, let alone rich, a living. You know, it's like, it's a bit of an ask from the world that bears no relationship to reality based on where we fucking currently are. That's the reality, dude. You know?
And listen to this. This is a great question.
Don't kill the messenger, but that's just the reality.
So same thing from In the Pits, from Christian. Do you think that? And I've always thought, like, we just kind of joked about it, like, hey, buy our team. You know, I always joke about it as well. But do you think that if the contracts are made public, that I'm sure that there are guys in here watching this show right now who could afford to float Dynasty's entire budget? You know, or like, so basically, when they see a contract is like, oh, it's only $200,000 to buy an entire team. You know, like maybe outside sponsors will get more interested. What if Nike's like, paintball? I don't know. We're not going to waste our money. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. You can buy the entire league for $1 million. You know, like.
I mean, I really don't think that the Nike's aversion to sponsoring paintball has.
I know. I use Nike as
contractual complexity of the relationship between. And again, dude, I don't own a fucking team. You know, used to be a pro player for a long time. And I deal with this all the time, talking to people. But like, does anyone really, in their heart of hearts, think that that's what's keeping Nike out?
No.
Like, oh, it's because the complexity of the contractual relationship between the players and the team. No, that's not it. You know, like, if anything has enough cultural momentum, people will fucking find a way to make it work. I mean, Jesus Christ. Again, Shohei Ohtani just made a $700 million deal. We're talking fucking, 0.7 billion work, because it works out for all parties. Mm-hmm. He's still rich. They get to spend more money on the players. The Dodgers are willing to forego that money, and then who knows, maybe they'll fucking sell the team in 10 years. But it's like that, that's not why we're not getting outside sponsorship. We fucking shoot guns at each other playing war. That's
probably the problem.
You know, like, again, let's just can we deal with the elephant in the room? There's an 800-pound gorilla in the room. And that 800-pound gorilla
looks like an assault rifle.
Paintball. We're shooting guns at each other, playing war. We're never going to get away from that. That's the allure of the game. You know, so it's like some big name companies aren't going to, in today's day and age, in 2023, with all this crazy anti-gun bullshit, going on in the world, and justifiably so, depending on your outlook on things. Yeah, dude, like, it's probably the 800-pound gorilla. It's not the contractual relationship between Field 1 and Dynasty that's keeping Nike or Red Bull, which I've heard from sources, refuse to touch any paintball with a 10-foot pole because we're shooting guns at each other. And what are we going to do?
Although that mindset has changed slightly due to their involvement with video games, but still, and the owner's dead now, so...
Yeah, but again, but with video games, the economy of scale, when we're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars and hundreds of millions of people, which is the numbers that play that play video games, then you're going to, again, it's just, as it's been proven, like, you can sit there with your corporate morality and that shit goes to the side. You know, it's the same thing with the fact that you have all these corporations willing to go and play ball with China. You know, so like they'll say all that they will about the United States, but when we go to China, okay, well, we're going to shelve our moral responsibility as a company because we want access to all of their humans. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's like, again, what are we talking about here, dude? Like, this is just, we play war shooting guns at each other. We can call them markers and we can wear bright jerseys all we want. And we can, have all these colorful terms for things, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So we have to understand that and move on from there. Mm-hmm. And move and deal with the world as it actually lies and how it actually exists. and what people are actually doing and what they're actually worried about.
Yeah,
and not just have some sort of concept of some sort of utopia where none of that matters. Like,
right.
That's kind of ridiculous.
And just so people are clear, the actual physical gun companies don't want to sponsor paintball either, for pretty much that exact same reason, right? It's not the exact same reason, but it's just not the same platform, so they don't need to.
Okay, so we've forgotten about this, but I'm going to remind everybody. This is important. Paintball was people used to try to make paintball illegal. When I was coming up as a teenager in the early to mid 90s, and I met people like Jessica Sparks. Like Jessica Sparks, God bless Jessica Sparks, but she was a lawyer who was a paintball fanatic and loved the game of paintball, and she would go in front of courts to make sure that this game was legal. It's still illegal in a lot of places in the world. I played in Japan at the first legal tournament that existed in Japan in 2002. I was there for 2 weeks. It was awesome. What a great experience. Great stories. Got a lot of fun stories from that. But paintball, is still quasi illegal in a lot of places because of what it actually is.
Yeah.
And I think that we're so used to, looking at it the way we've looked at it. A lot of guys have grown up with this just being a thing in their life. Where it's like, oh, well, it's just, and this is not a thing in a lot of other places. It's still rough around the edges. I mean, I got detained in Tahiti one time because I had guns in my bags, and they were just paintball guns. And I'm sitting there for 45 minutes while I'm being read the riot act and being told I'm going to go to jail.
Yeah.
I know you've had these experiences before. So I'm in paradise. I'm in Tahiti. I'm at the airport. There's a dude with neck tattoos the size of a mountain. Looks like Maui from
Moana. If you don't have kids, you don't know yet.
Yeah, if you don't have kids, you probably haven't seen Moana, but it's a pretty dope movie. Anyway, so I'm literally sitting there with Maui, from Moana, and he's telling me I'm going to go to jail, I'm going to get arrested. I'm trying to import illegal firearms into his, and I used to, I'm sure, I don't know, you used to do this back in the day, but I used to keep a couple magazines with me in the magazine, so I'd keep those in my bag in case situations like this would pop up, because they have popped up over the years. And so I would, I showed him the magazines. I'm like, dude, I'm a professional paintball player. I'm here to teach a clinic. These are just paintball guns. They're not real firearms. Anyway, so I'm just sitting there, again, being read the riot act for a long time, dude. I was there for, not super long, but it was probably like, I don't know, 45 minutes, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And I know you've been in this situation before too. And then so finally there's a knock on the door, and this dude, Franck, who was the dude that sponsored the clinic, pops his head in, speaks French to the dude, and next thing I know, I'm being let out with all my stuff, and everything's fine. And I have no idea how it all got fine after that, but it's like this is still an outlaw thing, man. Boys, this is still an outlaw thing. Okay, like we're not there yet. We got to get it there. We've been trying, all of us collectively here, the hashtag Grow Paintball thing. Okay, well, the guys trying to grow paintball, we've been doing this for a long fucking time, and we need help. So it's like, that's why I love where we're at now. It's a different part of the conversation, but let's not get it twisted here. Okay, we're still doing a thing that there's a lot of places in the world that don't like it. There's a lot of people that don't like it, and it is what it is, dude. So let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah, but anyway, at the same time, though.
So with the contract thing, like, dude, that's, again, how's that enforced? Like, again,
right.
if you have a
we can't even enforce contracts as is.
Yeah, no, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, sure, dude. Again, in our utopia, it would be great. It would make my job a lot easier, and it would make paintball a lot more interesting if all that was transparent. But it is not. There's no fiduciary responsibility for a guy that's willing to pay a dude in whatever way he's going to pay him, whether it's through guns, products, is it a write-off for his company, is he a 1099 employee? Like, there's no responsibility for that institution to have to, clarify that and make that public in this, little small corner of the pro paintball, in the pro sports world that is pro paintball. So, like, yeah, that would be sweet, and I would love for that to happen. I just don't think that that's any way, shape, or form a reality that makes any sense for the people that are actually paying that money. Because you have to convince them to do that, because there's no other mechanism to force them to do it. And so I try to live in the world of solvable reality. And to me, that's not really like a solvable reality. Like, that's not something I can solve. I can't take that and be like, yeah, you should really tell everyone what you're paying everybody. It's like, well, that puts them at a disadvantage, because then, potentially, so, but yeah, from like a principle standpoint, I think it would be great. This doesn't make any sense in reality.
It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, like, we don't even really have contracts that are able to be upheld. Really, to be completely honest, and most people are just handshake deals. Yeah, so I don't know. It's we're a long ways away, but there is a bubble, okay, and it's one of those things that there are big spots. We're on the radar.
Yes.
Right? But again, it's so touchy of a subject that it's one of those things that if you're a marketing person or if you're a PR firm or whatever, whoever's handling the money for, let's call it like Coca-Cola and Fritos and Downy dish detergent or soap, whatever, laundry detergent, and you're like, it could work, right? But what you don't want to do, there's two things you don't want to do. You don't want to be the first one in and have it fail. And you don't want to be the last one in after everybody else is succeeding. So everybody's just sitting there going, we'll just keep it over there. And there's also like MLP, Major League Paintball, which, a lot of you guys are now following, who's putting out more and more content, and, the ball's rolling there. They need more of a following. This is like, that's the biggest part of paintball. This is the biggest league in paintball. So, everybody who plays an event and whinges at spending $60 to get an ID card, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're ripping me off. And you get like $50 in perks, and then also $50,000 or whatever it is, and 10, 20, whatever the spot insurance is. Yeah, you get all these perks, but what you're also doing, which a lot of people don't understand, and then the same person will whinge about growing paintball, is you're entering yourself into a database that is now a quantifiable metric on now a pitch deck somewhere to say, hey, someone, a potential sponsor, here's our player list, our player base. We got tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or how many ever players we are. Here's the people that you can market behind. Here's their ages. Here's where the location is geographically. Yeah. So this is all important metrics that we can use eventually to hopefully
let me tell you an anecdote from my life. So when back in the Paintball Access and PSP days, when Chris Rail's entity was working, again, this is it was becoming symbiotic in the sense that it made sense for everybody, and there was little antagonism at the time. So we had Paintball Access, which is what Go Sports is now, and then you have the PSP, which is what the NXL is now. And then you have, Chris Rail and his database essentially of all the players that play all these tournaments. And so we had put together, so through some connections, shout out to Dan Napoli, I got a meeting with Kevin Lyman, who ran the Warp Tour. So this is a guy that's used to going and talking to big name, cutting edge brands, the Vanses of the world. And, to sponsor the Warp Tour back in the day was also, you're sponsoring like, the punk rock Format Revolution type, music tour, right? Even though it became kind of a benign, fun teenage fucking romp, but whatever. But anyway, so I sat in front of Kevin Lyman and I had brought him a presentation and was like, we have the media arm, we have the organizational and arm that throws the tournaments, and then we also have the logistics, and then we also have the register and the database to prove all of this based on years of extrapolating data, based on participation.
Did you show them that type of notepad?
What's up?
Did you show them? Was that the notepad, like the type of notepad?
No,
like, hey, look what I got. Look at that. I've got all these notes here.
It wasn't that. No, I mean, it was like a presentation. Drove up to LA, had a meeting at his office. He sat down with me for a while and we discussed it. And he looked at this and he was like, this is something that I could probably get behind. And try to sell this to the world. But it just happened to coincide with when things started to fall apart.
Right.
Because paintball is kind of in some ways like the Ouroboros, the snake that eats its own tail. And so that's when it didn't work out because things changed at that point in time. So yeah, what you're saying is that, paintball as a gigantic institution worldwide, where you do have all these people, all colors, that's why I love the game, all colors and creeds, all religions, all shapes and sizes. I mean, it really is a unifying thing, that people do play all around the world, and there's a giant force of us. I used to kind of joke that it was kind of like Fight Club. I don't know, some people might have not seen that movie, but it's like, I mean, I've been, just in a weird situation and have some crazy stories where it's like you just drop paintball into the conversation. People are like, oh shit, paintball? Yeah, my cousin plays, or my brother's.
Yeah. Everybody plays. Everybody's on there.
So anyway, but again, it is also kind of like Fight Club in the sense that, again, we're playing war, shooting guns at each other. Like, this is just nothing, we can't get away from that. It's literally the core of the fucking game. But again, and this is why it's like, okay, we can hate on, people have, this is, again, the Ouroboros. Google that shit, dude. It's the snake that eats its own tail. We've constantly had over time, like, paintball just internally can't seem to get along. You constantly have struggle and strife between the organizational bodies. Now, it's better than it's ever been. This is why, having fought this war, I've been fighting on the front of this war for a long period of time, and I fought for all the kings and all the generals. There's no general or king I haven't fought for in this environment, and I've seen it all go south many times. But so it's, if you go back, it's the original MPPL, which took over from Jim Lively, and then that got twisted. So then then you had the rift between the NXL and the PSP, and then and the television stuff in the early 2000s, and the invention of XBall, the current format we play. Then you have the bringing back of 7-man at the same time, and pure promotions, et cetera, dude. I could talk for fucking hours about this. I've been there for all that. I saw all that from the front lines the whole time. And my advice after having gone through all those wars is like, let's not be the snake that eats its own tail. If paintball can unite behind something we all believe in, and it's good enough, nothing's ever going to be fucking perfect, dude.
We've been over that a million times.
There's always room for improvement, of course. But it's one of those things where it's like with paintball, the way I look at it, the way I've looked at all these different things I've been involved in, and shows and teams and leagues, it's like, dude, I didn't come from money, so I don't have millions and millions of dollars to potentially light on fire. So I've had to become, over time, really good at what I do and very pragmatic, because it's like, here is the battle. Okay, who do we have supporting us for this battle? What are we trying to accomplish? All right, well, let's try to do this the best we can,
Right.
And
you preface that in the very beginning. Oh, you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle's calling in. But you preface that. I think him and Mouse might be watching right now. Here, I'm gonna bring him in here. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta add him. You preface that in the beginning, right? And this is beautiful that it kind of like it brought itself all the way back around to this, right? Is you said, be really good at doing that. Like, you've got to develop a skill set, because you did play professional paintball, and you parlayed that and transitioned it into what you're doing right now. So you were on the front lines, not just as someone who played some paintball, but somebody who played at a highly competitive level and won world championships on multiple different formats, and came through all of those formats. So obviously, and I don't think there's any question to that, but what's really important is you had other skill sets that you really honed and made sure that you knew what you were doing.
Well, dude, we live in a meritocracy. You can dance around this all you want, but at the end of the day, the world is asking you a question, and the question is, what can you do for me? Like, what can you do for me? Like, can you fix my car? Can you fix my plumbing? Can you build me a fence? Can you build a company? Can you build a product? What can you do? What do you do? What do you do? So, and framework of what we have in here. Oh, damn, look at that paradise. What's up, baller?
What's up, baller? There they are.
House is over here somewhere. House.
Have you guys been watching the show?
and again, guys, as we've been
We were
talking about,
watching earlier, and then we were like setting up.
well, hey, just want to let everyone know, forget about everything we said. When you're really good at paintball, you get to go to fucking Bali and ball out like out by a pool and shit. You know what I'm saying? Look like a Greek god. Take your shirt off, Mouse. Let's see it.
Yeah, let's see it.
Look at this leg tattoo, too.
Damn, son. Look at that shit. That's epic, bro. How long did that take?
Dude, that looks painful, man.
He did a 3-day.
Oh, fuck. I can't even stand straight.
Dude, is it swollen?
It was a lot more. It's going to get skinnier, which is unfortunate, but 10 hours a day, 3 days in a row.
God bless you, man.
How high up does it go?
That's no joke.
How high up does that thing go?
That's dedication, dude.
Oh, I thought at one point, because you know how nerves, sometimes you think it's hitting a different spot. I don't know what we can say on here, but I really thought they were hitting my testicles.
Okay, it stops up there. I wasn't sure if it went all the way up and around into the hole.
That is very close to the testicles right there, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I was grabbing my stuff just to make sure. It didn't.
I would have been too. I would have tried to tape that shit down, bro. Like, hey, don't get near my balls with the needle, okay? It's like, kind of need those things.
It was an awesome mental challenge, though, to get through, man.
Oof.
Dude, that's...
Especially on the inside of that thigh, yeah?
Oh, my gosh. I was in so much pain.
He's about to go back for more.
Yeah.
Are you going to do the rest of it?
I'm going to do my back.
Oh! So,
When in Bali.
yeah, when in Bali, off season, dude. Off season. We were talking about you tonight a little bit. Tell me, what are you gonna have it match your current tattoo? Like that, I looked at that guy's stuff, and it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it'll be a different theme. It's
Okay.
I got like a pretty woman that's gonna be on my back.
Okay. Anybody you know?
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts.
No actual purpose or reason to it. It's just gonna be amazing artwork. So
Yeah, that guy's pretty.
He's only 19 years old.
So he just got his first tattoo last year.
I don't even think he has any, actually. Yeah, he's 19. Here's a funny story, actually, about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the tattoo shop I found on Instagram, and I found like their most famous artist on there. He's got like a couple 100,000 followers. I saw his artwork. I'm like, God, I got to make a trip out here. You know, aside from Bali being one of the most beautiful places, but I DM the guy. He responds, which I was surprised because I'm thinking this guy's just getting flooded with, you know, people contacting him about trying to reserve a spot for tattoos. He responded. Kyle just did a cannonball in the pool. And he tells me what days he's available, which is like 6 months in advance. So, you know, I kind of just went on a whim. I'm like, let's do this. So I had to give him $2,000 up front on a bank transfer. Somehow, you know, my dad finds out through my mom, because my mom doesn't really care if I get tattoos, but my dad, he's really old school. He's so against it. So my mom tells him about it. My dad somehow does the research on my Instagram, finds the artist, messages him, emails him, and then eventually gets his number and calls him, says, my son's not coming on this trip. Cancel his reservation for the tattoo. It's done. So the guy cuts me off, doesn't let me have my spot anymore to get tattooed by him. So then I DM the guy, like, is this for real? I wish you would have contacted me to, you know, make sure this was legitimate. He's like, yeah, but your dad spoke for you. I'm like, in business, that's not how it works. The guy that paid you, you should talk to him probably, right? So
you're coming from a patriarchal
society, it's a little different, for sure. So then I ask him, I go, so what do you recommend? Should I go to another shop for this, or do you have another artist? He goes, well, my younger brother, he's gotten really good if you want to book with him. So I went to his Instagram. I mean, he's only got like 1,000 followers, but I started seeing his work, and I go, you know, maybe there's a lesson here. Just go with it. So yeah, I was like, just book me. Let's do this.
Nice.
So I get out there, and nothing against that original artist I was supposed to go with, but I actually really like this guy a lot more. He's a lot more humble. Yeah, it seemed like he puts like his actual heart into the work, and the other guy just kind of came in with an ego when I first saw him at the tattoo shop, and I'm just like,
did you get the $2,000 back?
No, it went towards my work.
Okay, he just transferred to his brother.
Yeah, it all worked out.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what this, and straight up, I just mentioned it here. I go, this is probably the most you've ever talked. This is the most I think I've ever talked. You've heard you talk, and I think that there's a lesson you've learned in Bali. Either that, or you're just in so much pain, you're delirious for the last 30 hours of getting tattooed that you're like, I just need to talk to somebody.
Maybe there's growing pains on this trip.
Yeah. You guys enjoying it? How is it out there?
It's been beautiful, man. Kyle's done a really good job being the tour guide because he's second time here, so he's shown me so much. It's been awesome.
Bali's epic, Maddie. That's the one place you have not been, right?
I think we're actually going to go up and see Oliver later too.
Ryan knows how much I hate to travel.
Yeah.
17 hours to Singapore, then another 2.5 here. I feel like I for sure need to come back next year. So.
Yes, dude. We got him. We got him traveling.
Well, Mouse, what's the there's like a big kind of like a Greek philosopher face in the inner part of your thigh. What's the theme of the work?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask because I don't really know.
The guy is heavy on, and Maddie, I'll forward you his, or you can see it on Mouse's story. So it's a lot of like gods and demons, like underworld and overworld. Themes in his thing, like a lot of it's pretty cryptic stuff that the guy has, but incredible artwork.
I gave him a picture at a time, and I told him I kind of wanted you to piece it together almost like shattered glass, just like a one-of-a-kind art piece. And the kid was brilliant with it and put it together on an iPad and just mix-matched all the art.
Well, just in the future.
I bought a book.
Well, no, but it looks like, just looking at it real quick as you kind of did the spin, and I looked at it when you posted it. But it's like, so from that side, it's almost like it's like the yin and the yang and the disparity between the human.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you have, so on that side, that's a classical, like a Roman or a Greek, even potentially Middle Eastern classical art piece right there. Something you would see on a marble sculpture if you went into a museum. And the word museum is beautiful because it basically means a place for the muses. And then if you flip it around on the other side, it's like flip it to that side. That's more of like a native. It's like an Incan,
but it's got I thought that had something to do with Jesus because it has the crown, the thorn crown on his head. It looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So it's just it's almost like like the war that exists in every man's soul, and the war that's existed in humanity since the dawn of time. It's a cool duality of life piece. I love it. I when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's epic. And so however the theme ended up coming to life, it's a really nice piece.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you, man. I can't wait to show you guys my next piece, actually, but it's a surprise. So.
Woo! Is it? Someone asked if it's a picture of Kyle's misconnection out in Florida, Ariana Grande.
You blew it, Kyle. You blew it.
Yeah. No. Kyle's still waiting for that Craigslist misconnection ping to hit, to pop. That notification on that on that one. So have you guys been following?
So what were you guys saying before we got on to?
Well, we were just talking about, the value of great players. We talked a lot about the Ohtani. I don't know, I'm butchering his name. From baseball, the baseball pitcher. Ohtani. Oh, Tony. The guy who just got paid $700 million from the Dodgers. And he's deferring 80% of it to 10 years from now, so that way they can spend more money to help him win. And his kind of thing is I've got money, I want to win. So that's basically what his statement has been. So we're kind of talking a little bit about that. Obviously you guys play into that. You guys just picked up Cody Mikowski, so your team's getting a little bit better. I know there's lots of stuff going on with nothing incredibly prolific on the movements yet. Obviously, Mouse, you still have to make up your mind on what you're gonna do.
Always, right?
You'll know the final weekend in February where he's practicing.
Yeah, Mouse, I heard $300K a year for 3 years, dude. That's what I heard. Is that the rumor? I don't know, dude.
No, nothing like that. But I did get a pretty hefty offer from the Russians that, yeah, I mean, I didn't even entertain it, but it was pretty cool that offers are starting to really scale up there for paintball players. I mean, there's really opportunity now if you really commit yourself and
they were talking about that too. That front player,
that level of
that position
elite players. I mean, you can really make something of it now in this sport. Pretty cool. I mean, if you want the details, it was 95, and he probably would have put 100K on it.
Yeah.
The Russians. Yeah.
Well, good for you. You know, like obviously you're the guy that could get that, and we talked about that like quite a bit for like the last hour. That's kind of what we've been dancing around as top guys in their spots, specifically you, and the offers that you get year after year, and the decisions you have to make. You know, what makes it enough? What makes it like? What's your game plan? You know what I mean? Like, there's obviously a number. Everybody's got a number. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Like, if you're like, I'd never play for you. I'm sorry, we said $1 million. Yeah, I'm going. You know, like, obviously there's a number, but you got to think, you know, legacy is an important thing. And I think that that's something that, like, you've won a ton of paintball, right? And you've made a ton of money. You might be up there with one of the players that have cashed in the most as far as contracts go. So I mean, like, what is your game plan? Because obviously, and Matty used Billy Bernacchi as a parallel. Is like, that guy's 30-something years old and he's still diving into the snake head first every single point. You know, so like you still got time. You had that little back injury, but you know, what do you think?
You know, at this point, the diesel thing has been a bit of a project on the start of it, but you know, I'm committed to this, and I really want to seek it out and find some success. You know, whether it's making those consistent Sundays or finding a way to get a first place here. But I know that it would be truly a way more surreal feeling if I was a part of this team and won it with this group, just because they haven't even touched that type of success yet in this game. And, you know, someone like Mark Johnson that owns the team, that guy's dedicated more than half his life into the sport, and hasn't won much. And you can see, you know, just how bad he wants it. And when he's giving us these speeches, you know, before and after matches and the stuff we've gone through this whole past year, it really like eats at you, and you just want to like show him that, you know, the opportunities given to players like Kyle and I, that we are worth it, and we are going to show you, you know, there's light at the end of this. So it's really easy to be motivated right now because we haven't even came close to the potential that we should be seeking here.
Well, that's for sure.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Well, maybe maybe talk about picking up Cody and how that fits in with you guys. So that's the new news that just broke.
Great pickup. I mean, that guy's dedicated to this sport, and I think that's what the group needs, is people that just truly want to be a part of the game 24/7. And, you know, he's a guy that plays a role that's just a survivor. And that was one of our biggest problems this year, was just having guys on the field. And, you know, I'll take accountability for that. I more than half the time would just go into kill mode and find a paintball to hit me. But it's going to be guys like that kind of started off for us, that are just our rock. Stays alive. He's on his gun, giving us that information. You know, and that's how guys like Kyle and I succeed, is when there's a guy out there that just, in his mind, his priority is to survive, collect the information, and give it back. Now we can kind of paint the picture and put it together as a team. And we haven't found that yet. And I think he might be one of those missing pieces that we need.
Well, going back and watching, you know, watched all your guys' games, and it's just, survivability was a huge issue for you guys, but it was kind of one of those, like the curse of the new All-Star team where everyone feels like they got to do it. If I'm not doing it, we ain't doing it. And so there's that. And then, but you added, he didn't get a ton of playing time on X Factor, but if you look at how good, so him and TJ Danner, and then Tom Gass was in there as well too, but TJ Danner was fucking elite this year, dude. Like, that dude was on fire. So that's it's really hard to sit a guy like TJ playing as well as he was, having the moments that he was having, winning low body situations, he was pulling off 1-on-3s, winning high bodies, helping them win high body situations. So it made sense for Cody, who had proven that he can do that when he was doing that with Infamous, and then TJ comes back, he's healthy. But when you look at how you guys played, and when I was hearing the rumors of it, and then now it's public, and I'm like, yeah, man, that makes a lot of sense for AC Diesel, because they don't have a lot of dudes that do that. There's no one that plays the role that Cody Mikowski plays on a paintball field that's currently on your roster. So yeah, you can go after, if you got a ton of money, like if Mark Johnson has the money, he's paying you and some of the other guys on the team. And again, God bless Mark Johnson, and God bless you guys for raising that bar, because we do need dudes pushing the fucking radar, or pushing the needle forward, and being that tip of the spear, proving what's possible. But you at a certain point in time, you can't just throw a bunch of 1s and 2s on, at the league with as good as the teams, as a team like, even X Factor, good as X Factor, good as Tampa Bay Damage, good as Dynasty. You can't just stack up a bunch of 1s and 2s, elite 1s and 2s, and think like, yeah, we're going to go out and murder all these legendary squads, with all these attackers. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, just one thing that was on my mind as you were saying all that is, like, these games, especially on Sunday, it's like you got to have a lot of luck involved sometimes. And 100%. Even this last tournament at Cup, 100%. Dynasty is like, they lost like 3 players in like 10 seconds in that last point, and they probably should have just lost the match. But some luck was on their side, and they were able to pull that one out. We never caught that break. I'm not making any excuses. If you're good enough, you play above it regardless. But we just never caught any of those breaks. I mean, it was just one heartbreak after another.
It really was, dude. It was like...
You guys didn't get lucky at all this year. There's no luck on your side this year. No
injuries, player switches, coaches switches.
It was an uphill fight the whole year for you guys, dude.
As bad as it looked, there was a lot to take away from it too. And there was a couple of those tournaments we missed the cut by literally 1 point.
Yeah.
1 point.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's different at Cup, but 15th at Cup. Cup's a bit of an anomaly the way that the 24 teams, how the seeding or the placing ends up working out. Yeah. But you guys are, 12th, 13th, 8th, and 11th. That if you're 12th and 11th, that means you're right on the cusp every time of making Sunday. So it was just, again, and this is something I said this at the beginning. I said this in the Latin Saints forum, and obviously the second place was an anomaly for a situation like this. And then when Diesel formed, and Kyle, I have had this discussion offline. But it does take time, man. It's so hard to get like a quote unquote all-star team dialed enough to immediately be good. It almost never happens. And how long does that take? Sometimes it takes, and another thing, it's like, okay, so when we formed the all-star team that was excessive, we were playing 15 tournaments a year, not 5.
You're right.
So we went and railed off, we had like a 14th at Huntington Beach, terrible, worst that all of us had ever done at a pro event. And then I think we took like an 8th and then a 6th, or maybe, I can't remember if it was 6th in the second one. But then we had 5 second places in a row. But that's including 7-man, X-Ball, Europe. It was, we were playing paintball 15 events a year, in some way, shape, or form.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So it's just, that's what I'm saying with Diesel, like the talent and the structure and all those things that are needed. And now you guys are picking up Ryan Gray. I think that's a good pickup for you guys. Need a leader. I think Ryan could be really good for you guys. I think that it's going to be a different year for you guys. And I'm just kind of wondering, obviously I know you guys agree, but I'm kind of wondering with the finer details of that, I feel like Cody's a good mix. It's going to add to that because you having an anchor in the back is, again, it's like, I was talking earlier about how, when we're talking about who gets paid good money, one of the most important positions in football in the NFL is the backside tackle on the offensive line. Because if I'm a right-handed quarterback and I drop back, like it's hard to see what's coming from behind me, you know. So that's your left side tackle. The left tackle is incredibly important, you know. So it's an unsung hero, but anyone that plays football or knows football knows that guy is incredibly important because he protects the quarterback's blind side, you know. So it's having a guy like a Cody. You know, and this is why Marcelo has thrived with Dynasty. And Ryan, you play this position occasionally, but not a ton because you're more of an attacker. And then Yosh plays that position. He's played it very well past couple seasons. Like having a guy that can shoot a body on the break, control zones, great gunfighter, huge voice, close points out, doesn't die early. Like I just named off 6 or 7 different key components of what you need to have that position and how important that guy is. You know?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think snake players is where it starts, you know, to build the team around. And but you need all the pieces. So, you know, not to take away any credit from any other spot, but I was listening to your guys' the show earlier, like you guys were saying. The momentum starts from the snake player. If he's not getting it done, you're in a world of trouble.
It's Big the time. Prime mover. You're the prime mover. You're the first person that dictates what. It's like we all came from our moms. If my mom wasn't attracted to my dad, I wouldn't be here, and neither would none of you guys. You know, like they're the prime mover in your existence. The snake one is the prime mover in the strategy of paintball on 99% of fields. Occasionally a D side will be super strong too, but it is very, very rare. The snake one is he's the trendsetter, the pace setter for for all strategy that happens in the point. 100%.
Mouse has got to run.
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
He's headed up. Got his taxi here. Uber.
I can catch the next show.
Wait a minute. Are you going to get your tattoo right now?
Yeah.
He's leaving Uluwatu to go up to Semiak.
Holy shit, bro.
He had 2 days off, and now he's going back into the...
back into the dungeon, dude. Well, bravo on that tattoo. It's pretty sick. Good job on whatever you're doing out there. Also, you seem like a different person, which is really cool. It's good to see. Very good growth for the Tigerwear brand because you need to be man in the front of the booth there.
Not just hiding, for sure. Well, congrats, man, on all your success.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
The show strong.
Well, I'm running a donation list here. I've only got $25 so far on the show, but if I get another $99,975, I'll hit you up with that $100K offer.
You got it, man.
All right, tight.
Cheers.
Yeah, that was good, dude. Sick. Oh, I should have asked him. I wanted to ask him because everybody else wants to ask about Blast Camp.
What do you got?
Shout to him real quick. How does he think Blast Camp's gonna do?
How do you think Blast Camp's gonna do?
Terrible.
Yeah.
All right. So wait, let me ask you, and I don't know this because I haven't had any chance to reach out to anybody on Blast Camp. But they purchased the NRG spot, but did they acquire any of their players? Is NRG done?
Oh yeah.
Not sure on that one. I guess that's something that we should look into. Nick Janikowski, you might have yourself a deal, my man. We need a player. We're gonna need some players at least for the Texas event. There's a good chance of playing time as well. Nick, DM me, Nick. You can definitely buy my spot out while I'm on paternity leave.
What are we talking about? Blast Camp?
Yeah. So NRG, NRG merged with the Bears. So there's been mergers, there's been buyouts, but like whenever there's NRG is done, says Tomcat. No NRG.
Well, okay, I get it. Well, I heard they're going to have Powered by Energy on their jerseys. What does that mean? Okay, they're done. How many players come over? It's hard to have a conversation about it until we know that specifically.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Because I mean, that's absolutely right. I'm just getting some stuff from a handful of people here in the Peanut Gallery on what's going on exactly because. You know, whenever there's a merger, so if I take my team and I merge with another team, and both of our teams have 10 guys on it. We're not starting with a roster of 20, so there's, stardust floating out there in the ether at this point as the galaxies collide.
Well, again, if we look at, so Energy had some talent on that squad. Geiger, so Devin Stewart was on the squad. They picked up Devin Stewart. So, what's Devin doing? Mm-hmm. That was the most experienced guy in the squad. They had Louis Betancourt, who was the bowling ball for the ML Kings a couple years ago, helped put them on the map. And then you got Bowen and Geiger. So there's a decent amount of dudes that did some killing for Energy Elite. They made a couple Sundays. So who's still on the squad? Who's not? Where are those other guys going? I heard Geiger was a free agent, so maybe he's not going. Mm-hmm. And then they're merging with the Bears. Bears had some talent. They lose Frank Antetomaso. That's a big loss. The Bears were super disappointing this year, considering how well they did with Thunder.
Yeah.
The Bears took 17th. They took 20th place at Cup. I mean, they made Sunday, and then it was just really bad after that. 19th, 16th, 17th, and 20th. So, who are the Bears keeping? I don't know. That's a story still that needs to be kind of clarified a bit, because there's a lot of parts there talent-wise that I don't really know.
It sounds like 2 players from NRG to the Bears. I mean, I could see Devin going over there.
Well, for sure, it's Austin Buckton and Ashton Buckton are going to go for sure because they're the owner's sons. So they'll go. So is that the only 2, or who else are they taking? Because then, like Chewy, Betancourt, he's pretty good. Didn't get a ton of playing time with him, but he showed what he can do with the ML Kings. So that's worth somebody's time for sure in the pro leagues. And then Geiger and Bowen and Devin Stewart, where do they end up? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually, there were rumors that the Iron Men were going to pick up 2 of the Revo players, and I don't know if that is going to come to fruition anymore. I do know that because someone's talking about Weaver, getting Elliot Weaver, but I did get confirmation from Tom Ford that Weaver has signed with Revo again. Yeah, and actually,
I was hearing that Iron Man was going to start throwing some money around.
I thought Dynasty was going to pick up Weaver. What happened?
Yeah, Revo. Yeah, we couldn't do it to Tom again. We couldn't grab both of his guys.
Sure, you could.
Sure, we could. We should.
I think I heard a rumor of that Ironman's throwing some money out there with offers.
Well, yeah, the Ironmen are literally after Cup are in 19th place.
Yeah.
22nd.
Yeah, they need to.
At World Cup. And 18th and 19th, the 2 tournaments before that, and 17th at the first tournament. They have some work to do. So they need talent, and they need a lot of training.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they did lose a couple of players already, but I don't know. I can get a little Ironman lowdown. We got Nick SLOWIAK in the house, I think, still, but I'm gonna be over at in their neck of the woods this week a little later, working on our project over there. So I will I'll see if I can get any scoops.
Miramar? You mean or Strips Ranch?
Yeah.
Their neck of the woods? Bro, you live in their neck of the woods. What are you talking about?
I mean, right now I'm in a garage in the studio.
It is not its own country, Ryan.
Yeah.
Pacific Beach. I know you and Sticker are like, oh, I have to go to Santee. Holy shit, that's Arizona.
Yeah.
But
Las Vegas, basically.
You guys are basically equidistant from me at this point. Santee, Bali, Scripps Ranch. It's like, it's nearly as hot over in Bali as it is in Santee right now. It's all the same, to me.
Dude, it's been so hot during the day here. It's like almost you gotta wait till like 3-4 to start doing stuff, and then it's still hot.
Yeah, that's why a lot of stuff doesn't get done.
that makes sense.
When you're building things, it's funny. People hate on like the third world countries, and they're like, man, there's nothing gets done over there, and you're like, dude, you try to get stuff done when every single day it's 85% humidity and 100 degrees. Like, see how your work day works when you're outside trying to build a house out of bricks and cement. Yeah. It's like
that makes sense.
And then at dawn and dusk, there's just a million mosquitoes that are just sticking malaria in you. You're like, all right, well, I guess we're good with a one-story place.
I don't know. I've been to Florida and Atlanta and Texas. There's still a lot of things down there.
That's like several degrees of longitude away from the equator where.
Oh, I'm well aware of where it is. I'm just saying the actual repercussions of the weather for a certain part of the year in those places is very gnarly, because anyone that's been in Alabama when it's, I don't know, 100 degrees and 85% humidity, like, yeah, you don't want to do anything.
So we got Caleb Abel in here. He says that Blast Camp will end higher in the season than Fit. Quote me on that. Dude, I'm writing that down, Caleb. I love that. I'm putting it on the front of the notepad.
Okay, well, can we ask Caleb? Caleb, okay.
Yeah, he's here.
I'm not even going to argue with you. I just would like your evidence. What's the evidence, considering that Fit took first every single time, 5 times in a row at every event for an entire season, and so if they come into this year with the same exact rosters, what's your evidence that is going to be the case?
Well, you're on the clock. We need to get him to message retracted. Yeah, I'm writing that down. Brass Camp over Fit in 2024. Okay, if by World Cup, well, there will be some, I guess there's ways because of double points, so we're going to have to figure it out. But if you lose this bet, when we're coming around the horn and we're having this conversation, that then in Las Vegas 2025, you have to take a Greyhound bus from your home to the event. This will be a full season bet. That is actually, I believe, Verbal posted that. That was one of Verbal's suggestions on that one. So we've got Caleb Abel, Blast Camp over Fit in 2024. Quote me on that. He's in there. And pro is different than semi-pro. You're absolutely right. So, and we got some people.
Okay, pro's different than semi-pro. Is pro easier than semi-pro? No.
Listen, pal.
It's a lot harder. I'm just throwing it out there, dude. Look, Blast Camp's pretty sweet. They've won some tournaments, dude. Like, if you go back, okay, we're all looking at 2023, but if you go back to 2022, I mean, Blast Camp was on fire. Blast Camp won 3 events in 2022. They won the Mid-Atlantic Major, they won the Lone Star, and they won Windy City, blew out at Cup, 10th place. But, like, Blast Camp's obviously pretty damn good if you're going to make the finals every single time when you're in semi-pro. I just, but if you're going to sit there and make a declarative statement like, okay, Fit is going to do worse than Blast Camp overall in pro, I'm just wondering what your evidence is. Like, what evidence are you pointing towards? I'm willing to entertain your argument, but the last 12 months, every time that they fought each other, when it counted, deep into Sunday, it was Fit that took the win. 5 times in a row. Like, that's not once or twice. It's literally 5 times in a row, dude. Like.
So are you taking that bet, Maddie? Are you taking that bet?
No, I'm not taking that bet. Unless you give me some sort of other empirical evidence that makes sense that would sway my opinion, because I'm a realist and a pragmatist, so you have to give me an argument. I'll listen to your argument, but I'm going to go off of my knowledge and what I have seen in reality, and what I've seen in reality is that Fit beats Blast Camp 5 times out of 5, which is kind of a lot, dude. Like, if you were to put money on the odds of Fit beating Blast Camp 5 times in a row, I mean, dude, you'd have to get some
Fit does play more paintball.
Bet on that. That's a lot, man.
Again, you're right.
I'm not hating on Blast Camp at all. And don't get mad at the messenger. I'm just talking about what the actual metrics are, and those are the actual.
Check the notes. Check the notepad. Check the stats. I would like to get that. That would be cool. Actually, what would be cool is to get both a player from Fit and a player from Blast Camp on at the same time to discuss each one of them, discussing what they're.
You need to get Jackson.
Jackson,
dad,
I know. We talked.
Get Jackson Frey's dad. I think.
Oh, Virgil.
I think it's Virgil.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry if I'm messing this up.
Yep.
But yeah, get Jackson Frey's dad. I think that was who it was.
Yeah.
And then who was was John at their their chirper, and then I got my son yelling at me from the door.
It's also
and then
it's also impressive. Sorry, go ahead, Matty.
No, I'm just saying, and then get whoever's the biggest shit talker on PB Fit.
I mean, it looks like Colt.
Yeah, there you go. Get them on, both of them on, and just have them go at it.
Okay.
It's also impressive that both of those teams, like, I feel like the talk is always like kind of downplaying Blast Camp with this conversation a lot, but both of those teams
super consistent.
won all of their
Yeah.
Sunday quarterfinals and semifinal matches
Every time.
tournament, which is way more than those 5 matches that we're talking about. They got second place. Like, to win all those and not have any, like, error or, like, dealing with penalties that may not have been deserved. They both fought through that gauntlet for 5 events. Like, it's pretty impressive for both of those teams.
We're gonna work on getting both of them in. I think it'd be I think it'd be great because they obviously have a rivalry. They're gonna have to, I mean, their rivalry is gonna be whatever going into the next one because it's not even gonna matter, right? It's not even gonna be a thing like that. That whole thing is not even gonna be a thing. But there was certainly some. It was pretty wild what everything was that went on with them. Was exciting. It's fun. It's good for paintball, right? That's what we need that. So it's going to be a fun season between all of them. And I mean, they're. Let me ask you this: Blast Camp and Fit or the 2023 Ironman?
That's a good question. Well, I think that from an athletic fire point or an athletic standpoint, in the sense of firepower, that the Ironman had, because if you break them down position to position, if you look at their D side, their middle, the guys they have on that team, they went through pretty gnarly cut. I mean, they had a bunch of dudes that can play paintball, but I just think that when you go back and rewatch a lot of their games, it's kind of a similar problem that Diesel was having, but worse, is that because they didn't finish nearly as high as Diesel did and didn't make a Sunday, though they 12th was their highest placing, but they had a lot of instances where just guys just out there trying to do it by themselves. It's like, oh well, I'm on this team, and 1, they're trying to prove themselves, 2, some of them are a little bit new, working with each other, and it was just difficult for them to get a cross field offensive push coherently on a regular basis. When you look at Blast Camp and Paintball Fit, though definitely don't have as much firepower in the tank on paper as far as the talent level is concerned, because most of those guys have never played pro before, but they were better teams. So to be honest, I would probably take if the 2023 Ironman played both Blast Camp and Fit 10 times, dude, there's a legit argument that Paintball Fit and Blast Camp would do very well against the 2023 Ironman based on what we saw. What do you think, Monty? Yeah.
The stats are in. Well, guys, I've got a hard stop time of 6 o'clock because I have to run out and buy a load of gifts for the Boys and Girls Club that need to be donated tomorrow morning or by tomorrow morning. So we're gonna have to stop it there. This is epic, though. I think this is like one of our best shows. Obviously, I don't think that there's gonna be any other show that will get Mouse to talk that much, like on his own. So
he needs the endorphin rush of a tattoo, bro.
Yeah. We just need to get some ink in his blood before he goes on.
We had a good heart to heart yesterday, so I think he was, and last week too. I was trying to get him to talk, and he didn't want to, so I think he.
he was like,
change for the better.
Yeah, he was like, he gave you praise. He's like, Kyle has really helped me out here. Maddie, great work, dude. Thank you very much for coming in and saving the show here. Obviously, amazing having you on. Really cool. I think everybody's super stoked. Drawing a lot of those parallels that we talked about. I don't need to say that you said some incredible things and some really good, intriguing stuff out there. Maddie, what book is the number one book that someone should read? right now?
Ooh, here we go.
Here we go. Ooh. That was asked last time you were here, and I just didn't put it on the. I forgot about.
Well, actually, there's so many good ones, bro. I got amazing ones here. Let me grab a couple here. That one's good. That one's good. This one's good. And then hold on.
You brought like 3 over the other day.
No, they're in my backpack. I can't reach them from here. I got to go with different ones.
I thought you were leaving them, and then you just put them right back in your backpack.
No, I annotated those, bro. If you want a book, I'll buy you one, but I'm not leaving you the book that I wrote in already. You can write it in yourself. So
I'm just going to photocopy it and then staple it all together.
So if you want like a crazy just adventure read that will blow your mind, and then probably a story you've never heard, this would be an amazing one right here, and it's called A Land So Strange, The Epic Journey of Cabeza de Vaca. And this is the extraordinary tale of a shipwrecked Spaniard who walked across America in the 16th century. So that's the 1500s.
The epic journey of the cow's head.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of a crazy name, but this is a true story, and you're not going to find like a more wild tale than this, and it's a pretty fun read. If you want something that's going to explain the world to you and make the world, this crazy world we live in, make more sense, I highly advise you to read this one. It's called The Righteous Mind: Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion by Jonathan Haidt. This one's next level, dude. Like, makes so much sense when you read this book. So that Jonathan Haidt's a psychologist. He went around the world, did a ton of different studies in different cultures, and he kind of breaks down what he calls his moral foundation theory, discussing why certain people are kind of predisposed to be right-leaning or left-leaning, and kind of why we're in the situation that we're in right now. So that one's pretty amazing. And then, Monty, can you please hit that button? What are you doing, bro?
Adventures of Baron Munchausen?
No, not that one. And then Montgomery, stop hitting the light. All right, so then this is the last one. This is 1491. Sorry, my son's just being a savage maniac, but 1491. And this is the new revelations about the Americas before Columbus. Just a fascinating look at kind of what North and South America looked like before Columbus got here in 1492. And about the civilizations and cultures that existed, and it's
I just want to make it clear, like, everybody who was in the United States looked like us, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, good.
No,
I was pretty confident that I owned this land.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of people with the last name of Greenspan or Marshall in 1492.
I don't buy it, man. I don't buy it, Matt. I don't buy it.
But yeah.
Does Maddie approve of the Dynasty video?
Right now. I'd add a couple more, but my son is being loud.
No problem.
And I got to hold him on my lap or he's going to destroy my entire office.
Okay, top TV show. Or top show that you're watching.
Top show?
Yeah.
They put the Pacific back on online. Oh, go watch Greyhound. That's amazing.
Oh, I saw that. The movie with Tom Hanks?
That is such a...
That's gnarly.
You want to get...
There's a new movie, too, that was off a book that just came out. Like Leave the World or something. I forget what it's called.
With Julia Roberts?
Watch it. It's great.
The Julia Roberts movie? And Ethan Hawke? Yeah.
Oh, the cyber attack one.
Yeah. It's great.
Was it dope? That's one of the ones we were trying to watch here pretty soon.
Dude, I want to see that one. That one is they're basically sending us this, is programming us to prepare for what's about to happen, to make it normalized. Careful.
Yeah, that's not kind of how it works, but sure, that's one way to look at it. But just anyone that's...
Do you still have your rice?
Hey, here's a book. So people are like, oh, they're programming us to... No, that's fucking bullshit. Go read 1 Second After. That's a gnarly book that written a little while ago. And that was not programming us to get ready for this, but it talks about an EMP explosion and what the world would look like after that. You want a total mindfuck of like a post-apocalyptic scenario? Like, yeah, the road's crazy and there's a whole literary experience of all that stuff, but go and check out 1 Second After. That's gnarly.
Okay. 1 Second After. Okay, that one's gonna be the top. That's gonna be the top dog. I'm currently listening. I'm currently listening to the Elon book right now. I'm trying to figure out why everybody hates me so much for driving a Tesla.
How dare you?
How dare you?
You elitist Californian.
I am just a rich Californian living in a garage filled with mosquitoes. I can't believe it, but thank you guys all for tuning in. This is great. This is a great show. I'm gonna go. Speaking of rich elitist stuff, I'm gonna go donate a bunch of the money that you guys helped us raise. So prizes. There's still raffle tickets available on dynastypaintball.com. You can check out the little children's holiday charity drive. All proceeds are going to be split between. I'm obviously going to be spending some of the money tonight because we have to get gifts to the Boys and Girls Club by tomorrow morning. So check out dynastypaintball.com. Pick up a raffle ticket. You can win some cool prizes. Obviously, lots of HORMESIS bands, FRAIGE jersey, Greenspan jersey. We got some Project Paintball stuff, some Gen X global gifts and giveaways. We've got these special collab bands. I think a lot of you guys saw these and thought they were killer. They got dragons, they got tigers, tiger wear, 713 threads. So again, really want to thank everybody for tuning in and supporting the show, supporting Go Sports, supporting Major League Paintball, and all of the other paintball bits of commentary and programming. Oh, Kyle's back. His power keeps going in and out. And yeah, man, just keep supporting paintball. You just watch it, just like it, just share it, do whatever you guys can, and we'll keep providing content as much as we possibly can for you guys and getting on there. Also, for those of you who are interested in jumping in on the Dynasty Champions Club, memberships are going to be opening tonight. For those of you who are currently in the Dynasty Champions Club and getting epic gifts sent to your door every single month, we've got some killer stuff. I think it's actually shipping soon. We've got an Intel session for Champs Club tomorrow. Maybe we should get you on one of those Intel sessions, Manny, one day.
Yeah, get me in there.
It's fun.
Let's do it.
Every month you get a gift sent to. I haven't even opened this month's your door. Oh hell yeah! And it arrives. Dynasty beanie. We've got a Dynasty keychain and a special custom Champs Club Dynasty sublimated shirt. Oh, almost got that mosquito. Hoodie. So every month we send you guys a gift pack. And thank you guys for your support. We also do Intel sessions, big giveaways on every single Intel session, specials, deals, private groups, VIP experiences. It's all up on the website. Check out dynastypaintball.com, and we will see you next Tuesday. That's when we're going to be doing the drawing for all of the goodies from the raffle. So thank you guys for all that, and thanks, Matt.